Welcome to the Mad Black Dad Pod. I just really wanted to share my experience in therapy. It's like my first set of experiences because I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think everybody should try therapy at least once. And, it can really help. And the cool thing about therapy is everybody gets caught up like, oh, I don't want to keep talking to somebody, or I've talked to somebody and I never found the right person, or the person that abandoned me. I hear that a lot from teenagers. But there's multiple ways of like addressing therapy. There's multiple types of therapy. It doesn't always have to be talk therapy. So this is my first experience with talk therapy. It's an interesting one. So I've said it before in a separate episode that the first person I went to was recommended to me by a trusted source at the time. So, it took a little bit of massaging over, but I finally went. And it was an older black man. And it was like, oh no, he was really good. He understood. He pushed me. He challenged me. He did it. He did that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me try it out, right? The first session was okay. It was all right. Very interesting. Because it was my first experience. So it's just like a bit of a feeler. It's almost like a first date, or the first time hanging out with somebody. It's like, okay, well, who are you? How do I get to know you? What are your cues and your mannerisms? How do I, do that? How does that mesh with me? So early on, it was cool. I did a couple solo sessions. It kind of worked out. It felt normal. And it felt easy and smooth. He was able to challenge me on some things. He was able to present some, new thought processes for me. And I'm like, okay, cool, right? New perspectives. I can take that. Let's deal with it. Managed to do a family session. And that was an experience like no other. I'm not even going to talk too much about that today, but I will definitely talk about that. So there was the family session, and after that, I did a few more. I think I did maybe 5 or 6 in total. But by the fifth or sixth one, he was getting really familiar, it shifted from being my therapist to starting to try to be like my dad. And I'm like, this is like a red flag. He went from general therapy conversations and therapeutic skills to then asking if I wanted to join him at his church and do a thing, not like a Sunday service, but just an extracurricular event with him at his church. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel not negative in a way that was advancing, it didn't feel anything like that, but it did feel like the relationship that I wanted to have with my therapist. I want to be in this therapeutic space. I don't want to be in any other spaces. That's just it. We're going to do this therapy thing, and then we're going to do this therapy thing, and then we're going to do this therapy thing, and then that's going to be it. I'm going to pay my copay, we're going to talk, we're going to whoop-de-whoop, and then we're going to leave, and then we're going to go our separate ways, and then we'll come back in a week or 2 weeks or whatever. So I ducked out on that, and then in one of the sessions he hit me with the son thing, hey son, and I'm like, nope, that's it, we're done here. I'm not son. And he was doing it from this fatherly perspective or this fatherly position, and I'm like, I have a dad. At that time, our relationship was whatever, but I'm not looking for a new dad, and I'm not looking for anybody to fill this new dad role. So yeah, I had to stop. Going. It felt really uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I will talk about a time where I went back, because I definitely went, not back to him, but I went back into therapy. I felt like a brand new person, a younger person. It was really working out. But yeah, I just wanted to share like this journey of like therapy, and this was long before I became a dad, but I was definitely in like an adult. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that. I kind of felt like it was important because therapy and mental health, I think, is important. I think it can provide a lot of support for you in a lot of different areas, but it's not always like an easy thing. It's not always easy. It's definitely like this dance of, are we cool? You know, does it pass the vibe check? You know, and if it does, great, and keep going. But, you know, if there's one too many red flags, it's all right with, like, you know, sunsetting that and then, like, seeking out a new one. At that time, I was also extremely toxic, so I ghosted them. I didn't go back to them. I didn't respond. I didn't do anything. Not like, okay, I'm done here. Okay, I think I'm okay. I just stopped going. I paid the bill and was out. So, yeah, that was my first time experiences in therapy. Kind of toxic, I thought, but you know, it is what it is. And I will share about the next one next time. It's just something a little smaller one to do. Dads, go to therapy, especially if you have unresolved issues with your parents, because it's not always like a dad issue. It could be like a mom issue, or just like both of my parents were whatever they were type issues. So, you know, as you become a parent, as you enter into parenthood, also work to resolve your own issues so you don't put that back on your children or pass down your traumas and you know, have that affect how you raise your kids. No, I'm not perfect. I still make plenty of mistakes. I think the way, of course, my parents raised me have dictated the way I want to raise my kids. At least the way I want to do, like, my part as being like the dad, and I know Leah has her parts. But yeah, that definitely influences how I want to raise my kids. So like, there's a lot of distinct differences. But you know, you gotta. It's not a guarantee that you have to like be fully healed before you become a parent. I don't think that's necessary, but I think you definitely need to be aware of some of the things that your parents did or didn't do that you want to make sure that you do for your offspring when the time comes. And some of that is gonna just like pop up, like, ooh, I didn't know this was a thing, and you're gonna have to figure it out on the fly. And some of it you kind of already know, like, you know, some of the things are really, really obvious, but some things you just won't know until you know, and sometimes you just got to deal with that. So that's just a little something I want to share. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll be back. See y'all soon.